What do you do when you have a negative situation and you keep thinking negatively about it and it keeps producing a negative result around that situation? The problem you're facing in your life or business is not actually the problem. It's the meaning you're giving that result, circumstance, or situation that becomes the problem. In other words, it's the way you're thinking about that situation that is actually causing the problem. You see, every circumstance is completely neutral. It's not until we start thinking about the circumstance that charges it up, and it's either being charged in a positive manner or a negative manner. In other words, it becomes a good circumstance or a bad circumstance as soon as we start thinking about it. Well, we're going to go much deeper with this idea on today's video, because once you understand this, you will no longer be a victim of your circumstances any longer. In fact, you're going to know exactly what created it and exactly how to change it for yourself. And if you like that idea, please make sure you like this video and let's jump right in. Let's just use the circumstance that there's no money in your bank. Okay, we'll just use that as an example. So the circumstance is that there's no money in the bank. All right, well, left alone, that's not really that big of a deal. It just depends on what's going on. So the reality is you can make millions of dollars with no money in the bank, or you can continue having no money in the bank with no money in the bank. And the deciding factor is not the fact that there's no money in the bank. It's your thoughts about that situation. So stay with me here. The thoughts that you're thinking about having no money in the bank now cause you to feel a certain way. So maybe some of those thoughts are, I never have enough money in the bank. Oh no, how am I ever going to pay my bills at the end of the month? The thoughts you're thinking lead you to feel a certain way in your body. And it's either going to make you feel good or bad, depending on the thoughts you're thinking. And then how you feel is going to lead you to take certain action, or maybe not take action if it makes you feel bad. Like if you're lacking self-confidence or you don't have the clarity on exactly what you need to be doing, you're probably just going to be procrastinating around it, right? Well, the action or inaction that you take is ultimately going to lead to a result. Action is the highest form of communication. It's the best form of communication because every action will produce a result. It's the law of cause and effect. So literally every action you take will produce a result, either good or bad. Well, if you follow this loop of a neutral situation or circumstance and then a bad thought, well, a bad thought leads to a bad feeling, leads to a bad action, which leads to a bad result, which perpetuates the original circumstance and it keeps it going. So the circumstance isn't the problem though. It's your thoughts about the circumstance that need to start changing. And unless you change your thoughts about it, nothing will change because as sure as an apple tree seed, when planted in dirt and watered and gets sunlight, will grow into an apple tree, a thought is a seed that you're impregnating the energetic field with. And when watered enough, in other words, when you think it enough, will grow into the tree of whatever the thought is, good or bad. And you can't get an orange tree out of an apple tree seed. You're only ever going to get an apple tree out of an apple tree seed. So the same is true with your thoughts. You cannot produce a positive outcome or result from a negative thought. It doesn't work. It's always going to create a negative result or outcome. So once you start to realize what is actually creating your results and then perpetuating your circumstances, you're going to start to realize how powerful your thoughts actually are. Because it's not like you're just thinking one thought and it's creating your reality. No. What happens is you think a particular thought over and over and over again. It now becomes a habitual way of thinking. And now that thought, once you think it over and over again, becomes a belief. And now your beliefs are the programs that your operating system here is working from. And then those beliefs at the highest level are actually the values you hold. They're your highest values that you have in your life. So in other words, they're the thoughts that you feel most strongly about that are dictating your entire reality. And they're governing it and determining the outcomes ultimately in any given area of your life. So I want you to pause right there for a second and reflect on this. This idea is going to change your life forever. When you realize the actual cycle that has been created by your mind and the thoughts that you continuously think, you're going to start to realize that you are actually the creator of your life and reality. And there is no woo-woo to this. It is literally one-to-one. So you could begin changing the way you're thinking about any given area, and that is going to ultimately create a new result in that area. And so that's what I want to teach you on today's video is what do you do when you have a negative situation and you keep thinking negatively about it and it keeps producing a negative result around that situation? What do we do to interrupt this? Well, I call this practice the daily shift. And it literally has the power to get you from hell or the non-desire that you're living in over to heaven and the desired reality that you're after. And if you practice this, just like working out in the gym, you're just working out your mind muscle in this case. Well, when you practice this, it's going to start shifting your energy on a regular basis, moment to moment throughout the day. And if you can successfully shift your state of energy over to a more positive and desired state for yourself, most dominantly throughout the day. In other words, let's just say you sleep 8 hours a day and you're awake, consciously aware 16 hours of your day. Well, if you're thinking negative thoughts around that circumstance for more than 8 hours a day, in other words, like 9 hours a day out of the 16 waking hours you have, well, then by default and by the law of attraction, you are creating and attracting more of the same. But if you can shift your state of thinking, which causes you to feel better, which causes you to take better action, causes you to create a new result for longer than half of the waking day, longer than 8 hours, then guess what? You're going to make the shift finally. You're going to start to create and attract something new because you attract and create who you are being. You don't attract what you want and what you desire. You attract who you are being. Let me explain. We all have a body, a mind, and a soul or spirit. Well, that soul or spirit part of you is who you actually are. It's your consciousness. So in other words, you are an energetic or spiritual. They both go hand in hand. You are an energetic being living in a physical body with a mind that's able to create anything because you can think anything. You're limitless. You can literally think of any thought, positive or negative, and based off of the cycle I just introduced to you, you will be creating that thing as sure as an apple tree seed will grow into an apple tree. You'll be creating that thing in your life if you think it most powerfully, because where your attention goes, energy flows and momentum grows. Literally. So in other words, wherever your attention and focus is on, whatever you keep thinking about over and over and over again throughout your day and throughout your life here is actually coming to fruition, right? There's a gestation period for that thought, just like the apple tree seed will grow into an apple tree over a period of time, right? The same is true with the thoughts that you continuously think. Well, if it's manifested into your life right now, you've been thinking that thought and you've been thinking in that way for far too long. And if it's something you don't desire, I highly suggest you start paying attention to the thoughts you're actually thinking on a regular basis and start to deliberately choose to think differently in that area. When you do this, the shift begins, okay? So if you're liking this information, please make sure you like this video and share it with anybody else who might be struggling in their life, because this will change your life forever. It'll change their life forever. And I want to help as many people as we can here. So please share this with your world so that you and your family and friends and your employees, if you own a business, you all could start flourishing to the next level. So how reality actually works looks like this. We have thoughts that are electrical in nature. In other words, electrical impulses, neurons are firing in your brain every time you have a thought. Every thought is a unique electrical signature. The way you feel is magnetic in nature. Well, between the two, you're actually emitting an electromagnetic frequency, a very unique signature with every thought that you think, actually, and it is impregnating and impressing upon the field whatever it is that you're thinking and feeling. In other words, it's a frequency you're emitting, and you cannot shut this off, by the way. We human beings are always thinking and always feeling. So 24/7, 365, you're thinking thoughts and feeling feelings, and you're, in other words, sending out and broadcasting a signal. Well, the universe operates just like a TV or a radio station. It's always broadcasting infinite things, and it's just whatever you're emitting is the frequency that you're on. And so you're going to attract whatever frequency you're on based off of who you are being. Based off of what you're thinking and feeling, in other words. That is who you are being at any given point in time. So if you're being somebody who never has enough money in the bank and somebody who keeps thinking money's hard to make, I never have enough money, how am I going to pay my bills? And you continuously think this way, you are continuously sending out to the universe that you never have money in the bank, that you're always going to struggle to pay your bills. And it's just going to perpetuate and create circumstances, coincidentally, that match the thoughts that you're thinking about that situation. The same is true with your health. If you have a disease in the body, you have cancer in the body, guess what? If you start changing the way you're thinking about your cancer or about the disease in your body, and you start to think thoughts that you are healed and you are healthy, there is no room for cancer in a healthy body, right? So you've got to start thinking thoughts of more abundance and health in your life. This will change your life forever. I guarantee it. If you start changing the way you're thinking for even a week, it's going to start to produce a new result, right? In other words, you're going to start to see the sapling start to grow from the seed that you've impregnated and planted into the field. And now it's going to grow into the tree of whatever thoughts you've been thinking. Try this out for yourself and let me know what happens after a few weeks. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to see how you shift your life. Once you work in harmony with how you actually operate as a human being, watch what happens. You're going to start living your dreams for real. Your dreams will actually become your reality when you start to think on par with them, when you start to believe in them, when they become your highest values, actually. And you start to realize that you are the creator of your life and reality. And the quality of your thoughts dictate the quality of your life. Seriously, don't just take my word for it. Put it to the test in your own life, because I'm here to tell you it's going to change the game for you. So what do we do when we catch ourselves thinking a thought and we're continuously perpetuating the loop of something we don't desire? Step number one, you have to just notice how you feel. Remember, you're an energetic being living in a physical body. Well, this physical body is called our emotional guidance system. It's going to tell you the energy you're in other words, at any given moment in time. Well, if you're feeling bad in any area, it's only going to create a bad result ultimately. So you've got to shift from feeling bad to feeling good in that area or better in that area. So how do we do this? Number one, you just notice that you're feeling bad. You notice that you're not your true nature and self, and you're not like super excited or passionate about whatever's going on. In fact, often it's the opposite. You're a victim to your circumstance once again, right? Well, just notice when this happens. And what you're going to do is come back and reset. You're going to box belly breathe is what I call this. You're going to breathe through your belly, not your chest. You want your belly to expand, and you're breathing in new energy. Your breath is the filtration system for your physical body and your energetic body. So when you breathe in new air, you're actually breathing in new energy into your body. So reset your body and your state in this present moment. So literally push the pause button on life for a moment with me. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Hold it at the top, expanding your belly. Let go and release any tension in your physical body. Let go of any negative energy you might have been holding on to. Let go of those thoughts that you were continuously thinking on autopilot. And now breathe like this a few times for like a minute or two. Okay, you're going to reset your current state. So number one is you're recognizing that you're in a bad state. You're in a negative state, okay? Number two, you reset by breathing. Well, number three is you become aware of the thoughts that you're thinking that cause you to feel that way. And they're often going to be negative thoughts. Thoughts like, oh, I never have enough money. Oh my God, what am I going to do to pay my bills? Like the ones we talked about before, right? So once you recognize those thoughts, understand that you're human. Those are false thoughts. Those are just creating a reality that you do not desire, in other words, and they're not aligned with the reality that you desire to have. In other words, they're false statements in your desired reality. Because if you want millions of dollars or more money in general, but you're thinking thoughts that you never have money, it doesn't make sense. They're not aligned. They're on a different station. You want to listen to rock music, but you're tuning to country music, right? It's not going to work. If you tune to country music, you're going to get country music. The same is true. You want to watch a sports game, but you're on the Discovery Channel, right? All things are always broadcasting in the universe. All creation is final. Everything exists energetically in potential. It won't become a reality in your life until you flow enough energy to it. So the idea here is number one, what are you flowing energy to? In other words, what station are you attuned to most dominantly throughout your day? And if it's a channel or a station you don't want to be tuned to, you've got to start choosing to change your channel on a regular basis. Well, this little daily shift exercise will help you do this to the next level. So let's go back through it once more. You notice when you're feeling bad, step number one. You push the pause button on life, step number two, and you breathe. Reset your breath and your body and your being here in the present moment, step number two. Step number three, become aware and discover the thoughts that created that feeling in your body. Okay. Remember, use your emotional guidance system as a guide and then reverse engineer it to the thoughts that you were thinking that created that feeling. Well, next, step number four is we're going to start to choose better serving thoughts, choose better feeling thoughts around that situation. In other words, we're going to change our perspective around the situation. So if you really truly have never had money in your bank and it's always a perpetual thing every week, every month that you're experiencing, we need to break the cycle here. We're going to break the cycle with the way we're thinking about it. We need to look at it and find a new perspective around that situation. So even if you have no money in your bank, it doesn't mean you can't make more money. It doesn't mean you cannot be abundant. We could find abundance in our life right now because there's lots of different forms of it. Financial abundance is just one form of abundance. Remember how I said every thought is a unique frequency? Well, you can have abundance thoughts about anything. Well, that's where we start with this idea is to prove it to yourself that you already are abundant. And in fact, when you have no money in the bank, you are proving that out because you have an abundance of lack. You have an abundance of having no money, actually. And you constantly have that. So you're an abundance creator. You're creating an abundance of whatever it is that you're thinking about. Where your attention goes, energy flows, and momentum grows. So literally, you have an abundance of whatever your thoughts are, whatever seeds you're watering. You have an abundance of, right? Well, even if it's lack, even if it's disease in the body. Understand that that's awesome. And it proves that you're a limitless, abundant creator. And if you don't like the creation you've created thus far in your life, you now can point it in the other direction much more often. And that's the name of the game here. Okay. So my challenge for you is this. I want you to practice this little 4-step daily shift process. Okay. where you're recognizing when you're feeling bad, you're resetting your body and state by breathing, you're figuring out what the program is that's playing out. In other words, you're discovering the thoughts that you continuously are thinking that's creating the circumstance. And then number four, you're just simply choosing to think a new way. You're going to choose a better serving thought. And if that thought is positive and empowered and towards your desires, you're dream casting now instead of fear casting. Most of us throughout our life, we're fear casting and we're creating what we don't want. And it's a survival mechanism. It's actually the way we operate. Well, we're going to shift this on its head and we're going to start to dream cast much more often. If you can do this, my challenge to you is this. If you can practice this little 4-step process for at least 21 days, remember we're habitual machines. So it takes about 21 days for a thought pattern to start to change, like significantly change to the point where it's no longer the most dominant thought pattern. And now the new thought pattern will start to emerge, which will ultimately create a new result in that area of our life. And the rest will unfold in your new reality. Try this out for yourself for 21 days and let me know what happens. I seriously want to know. So please drop me a comment, come back to this video and let me know and say, Tony, this video changed my life. It changed. I made more money. I started getting new ideas and serendipities and coincidences started to unfold in my life and opportunities started to present themselves that I didn't see before. Well, got news for you. Those opportunities have always been there. You just were not on the frequency of them. So you couldn't see them. Well, now you're getting onto the frequency of them much more often, much more dominantly throughout your day. And now you're going to start to see more and more and more opportunities come in, and it's going to change the game for you. And any area of your life, by the way, you apply this, it's going to work. It's how this world and this reality operates, actually. When you work in harmony with it, when you wield the infinite powerful mind that you have in the right direction, your mindset is everything. This is a universal truth that everyone has access to and nobody knows about. Hardly anybody knows about this. I want to help empower the world with these ideas so that we all can start living our dream life, so that there isn't a need for war and poverty and lack and all the other garbage that exists in the world. Imagine a world where we are all flourishing together, co-creating the most amazing reality, where all of the problems go away in the world and only solutions live. And we are solving them together. And we are moving mankind or womankind in a direction that it's never actually seen before. How awesome would that be? It starts with you and changing your world first. When you understand the power that is in between your ears right here, it'll change your life forever. Try this out for yourself and let me know how it goes. Thank you so much for listening to this video here today. And thank you so much for supporting and watching my channel. It means the world to me. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and I'll see you in the next video.